Holly, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a wonderful opportunity to be able to thank all of the giants that came before me and to revel together and with everybody else about how magnificent the field has become. I mean, it's just exploding in so many different directions, and it's terrific.
It absolutely is. And Holly, to me, you are one of the OGs of pelvic health physical therapy, one of the original gangstas.
Yeah.
You know, like I got into this field about 12 years ago. And when I was in residency at Duke, I was able to come to 3 pelvic health courses, and you were at all of them.
Ah, my goodness, I'm sorry that you had to be.
No, I am so lucky. But like, I just want to tell a couple of stories that kind of remind me of you.
Oh, good.
Actually, I'll tell 3 because they
Okay.
all come from 3 different courses. So the first course that I met you at, I had no idea who you were. It was on, I flew into California on 9/11,
Yep,
2011.
yep, yep,
So it was 10 years after the World Trade
yeah.
Towers fell.
Uh-huh.
And the flight out to California took about 5-6 hours. We weren't landing.
Mhm.
And then they finally told us that there was a complete blackout from Mexico up to Arizona.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, like deboarding the back of a plane where a whole airport is just black and they're giving you yogurt and cots when you get off is crazy. So
Yeah.
I managed to get to the course the next day. You guys kept it going and you were there. And that was the course that I discovered that I had an overactive pelvic floor and I wanted to chuck the biofeedback unit out the window. And you were just so like, you were so patient and gracious with me. And that helped me personally.
I'm so glad.
Do you remember that course?
Of course, I remember that course. Everybody showed up with one brown sock, one black sock. People, were wearing everything inside out.
It was crazy, but like we pulled it off. You
Yeah.
pulled it off. It was amazing.
At
Okay.
the Holiday Inn, people were sleeping in the corridors because it was hot and there wasn't any ventilation because there was no air
Yes.
conditioning. And you had to like
Yes.
try and find your toothpaste when a car came by, so
Yeah,
that.
right? Seriously. It's like memories. Yeah. So then the next memory that I have of you, I didn't even know who you were at the time because you're so humble. So I showed up to PF3. And the very first thing that you had us do was put our hands over our heads and say, vagina, vagina, vagina. And it just had the whole class giggling. If you have never taken a course with Holly Herman, she is the funniest. It's like stand-up pelvic health.
Yeah, well, Kathe Wallace says that people just remember my stories. They don't remember any facts. She gave all the facts, she gave all the knowledge, and all I did was fill in with stories about how I made mistakes or how I.
And you guys made such a wonderful team. And then the third story that I have to tell, and I hope I haven't lost people, but you changed my life and so many other people's lives because I remember I showed up late to PF2B. I sat down next to you and I said, I want to write a course in breast cancer rehabilitation. And you took my hand and you held it up. And that was like, I'm like tearing up. That was such a pivotal moment. And just that one gesture completely changed things for so many people. So thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
honestly. And here you are 10 years later, and you're teaching courses all over and
The world.
just
Yeah.
giving such knowledge and such clinical relevant information to so many. You were teaching what, 4 courses for Herman and
Yeah.
Wall?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. You were a clinician and all other parts of your life, and then you would go on the weekends and, go teach all of these courses to these people who are so dedicated. I
Well,
mean,
just make me feel good about myself. Thank you.
yeah. And you had the talent, and here you are. I mean, really,
Thank
just keep on
you.
expanding.
Well, Holly, I want to pick your brain.
Sure.
Let's flip this one back around on you. Okay. So, yes, I want to talk about the history of pelvic health physical therapy. And you are such a great mind. So I have a list of questions I want to ask you today. The
Oh,
first one is, what is the first memory that comes to mind when I ask you, how did pelvic PT start?
yeah. So I remember walking into Elizabeth Noble's store, or sorry, practice. It was a storefront, and it was 30 by 30. And then you walk, that was the exercise area. And then you go in the back, and there's a treatment and an office, one room, and back there. And meeting her and her saying, listen, she was pregnant at the time, and she said, here are 14 books that I would like for you to read. I'll see you back here in 2 weeks, and we'll do
14 books.
14 books. And then I'll see you back here in 2 weeks, and we'll do our first pelvic exam. So clearly, there was a figure to behold in Elizabeth Noble and all of Australia. You know, Australia was doing things so many years beforehand with
They
Wally
still are.
Kelly and oh my gosh, and in London with Joe Laycock and so many people around that particular time, who were really working a lot to promote all of this. And I was in the right place at the right time. So, you know, you got me, you got this schlub who then took over the information and imparted it on, you know, hopefully a number of people who have now taken it to such heights and such expanse. It's just phenomenal. So my attitude has always been, if I could do it, anybody could do it.
I don't think that's true. I actually think that it was divine timing that you were in the right place
Yeah.
to spread this information, because I can't think of a better person to have done it.
Oh God! So I go for my first. I mean, 2 weeks later, I go for my first, you know, exam for that she's doing, and Liz talks this person into allowing me to do this exam, and I place my finger in there, and
Oh,
she
you did it.
yes, and she says to me, Liz says, "Did you feel her sister seal? Did you feel her rectus seal? Did you feel her urethra seal?" And I got to tell you, the only thing I could think of was, it's really warm in here. I wonder if it's always warm in here. And I took my finger out and I said, sure. Oh, yeah. Of course, of course.
Yeah, of course I did. Like, the thing that we don't want people to do in courses is to fake it till they make it. Like, please tell us.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, but you did. Yeah, you're like, yeah,
So
I've
I
got
learned
that
from
cystocele. That's hilarious. So
right.
Elizabeth Noble was one of your mentors.
Yes, and also, she gave me one of the books she gave me was this text by a woman named Helen Herdman.
Okay.
And it was really the preamble to essential exercises for the childbearing year. It had pictures of what to do in terms of, you know, shoulder diastasis, that the baby's not coming out. It
Yeah,
showed things
dystocia.
to
Yeah.
do beforehand while you're pregnant about posture. It showed things afterward. It became sort of my Bible because Liz was looking for somebody to replace her because she was going to go to Canada to have Julia, her daughter. And so I really learned a lot, and then found the section for women's health. And at that time, there was Jane Frahm. Do you know she's 83 years old now, is still practicing?
Wow.
And in the last 5 years, she has taken courses so that she could add sexual medicine to her arsenal.
And her
She's
name is Jane Frahm.
Jane Frahm. She's
Jane.
just remarkable, really, absolutely remarkable. And then there was Annette, who is English, who's now the head of Simmons University. Now there was Elaine from Emory, who just really brought us into all different. I mean, there was this whole group of fantastic practitioners. There was Rhonda Kotarinos, who brought us into a legal aspect of the women's health section, and lots about the tight pelvic floor. There was Fatima Hakeem, who is the
Yeah.
best administrator, of course. You
I
want
have her
to?
I have her policies and procedures
Oh
manual.
my goodness. I mean, really, she just is like the best there is in terms of, running everything and being a clinician and a visionary, and is working on a pelvic floor book now. So there was Jill Boissonnault, who really brought so many things. And then there was Lynn Assad and Barb Hughes and Kathy Conkler. These were really
So you
amazing.
guys all just locked arms together.
Oh my goodness. They really just brought me in and allowed me to be part of it. They were already cooking.
And it
Um,
wasn't like it didn't have a competitive spirit, or did
no,
it?
no,
That's so
absolutely
good.
not. It was like everybody was just sort of trying to figure out what was going on. Like you would see frequency and urgency, and a lot of times the adductors were really tight. And then you look at the anatomy and you see that the adductors are literally fascially connected to the urethra and also the bladder. So if you have tight adductors, you're going to get, frequency and urgency, or you're going to get testicular pain. So a lot of it was just really kind of like, do you notice this? Do you notice that? Do you notice this? And then there were the researchers. I mean,
Yes.
Chiarelli and Joe Laycock and Kari Bo and just Ingrid Nygarrd. I mean, really
This team of
extraordinary.
people with different
Yes,
subsets of strength that just came together and made the profession
yes.
what it is today, and it continues to evolve.
It just keeps on evolving, just absolutely keeps on evolving, so much. And then also interdisciplinary. So really bringing in midwives, bringing in OBGYNs. I mean, that was the name of the section. It was
Yes.
the section on OBGYN. And then now it's just taken on pelvis, and really the connections orthopedically, and the connections to brain science and visceral mobilization and organs. We were always arguing, are we just muscle, or are we allowed to touch the organs?
Right.
And here that whole visceral with Gail Wexler and Dawn McConkey and Ramona Horton. Oh my God, such magnificence in those teachers to really show us how everything is interrelated
It's
with
amazing.
with the pelvis. I
I'm
mean, just
grateful for
amazing.
all of you guys and for name dropping and,
Oh,
just, yeah, you all deserve so much, like so much gratitude.
oh well, all of you too. When Kathy and I we were teaching for the APTA, and then it just sort of became time because Kathy was starting to think about
Yes.
levels. Different stages. So 1A, 1B, 2B, 2A, 3C. Whatever.
Yeah, right?
Kind of thing. She was so visionary. And what happened is that we just really wanted to have that freedom to be able to do that. But
And you
um,
guys teamed up, you and
yeah,
Kathe Wallace. That's
yeah,
how Herman and Wallace was formed.
that's right. It
And
was,
how many years was Herman and Wallace an entity that was run by the two of you?
yes, it was, honestly, I can't remember because neither of us were business women. So every single thing we had to make in terms of a decision was like a learning curve like this. I mean,
Wow.
it's like who knew how to do this. Plus, we were on a time differential, 3 hours, so 8 times on the phone per day. To say this and ask this and do that. So Steve and Sam and Holly Tanner have really taken it over and just blown it wide
Yeah,
open.
I think a lot of people have no idea that you are not you are not Herman and Wallace now.
Right, and very good it is because both Kathy and I really, honestly, we are not businesswomen. We are teachers and we are educators, and that's what we do best.
That's
Um,
so good.
so
Knowing your strengths, it's hard, you know?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
really, really helpful. And then also for them, Steve and Sam and Holly to have coordinated with MedBridge so that there was an online learning component that was going on. So that really was brilliant too.
Yes, they have done a phenomenal job.
Yes, yes. Have you recorded your course for them? Or did it?
I teach my course online independently through Your Core Academy. So
Yeah.
I'm on my own with the breast cancer course online. I still teach it in the United States through Herman and Wallace.
Ah, uh-huh. But where have you been teaching it all over the world?
Oh, Australia and New Zealand. I've been there a couple of times and I've
Which
probably taught,
one?
I think, like 8 courses over there.
Whoa.
So, yes,
That's,
I love going over there.
yes,
Friends
yes,
there.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
I want to ask you, what were your biggest challenges in bringing pelvic health rehabilitation to light and moving it forward as a recognized part of the PT profession?
Well, nobody knew what we were doing.
Yeah,
Absolutely nobody.
they still don't.
Yeah, they still don't. I mean, quite literally, I joke about the fact that, we should be on every bus and in every metro, that says
Yes,
got no satisfaction, for sexual medicine, see a PT. Leaking, see
that's
a
what I'm
PT.
saying.
Bound up, see a PT. I mean, people reading these signs will understand exactly that we're talking about bowel bladder and sexual function, and really then it goes on to even more. And we should be everywhere. We
I
really,
know. And now we've got the Instagrammers. Like we're getting the pelvic PT influencers that are like, I just have 130,000 followers now. And it's like, what? That's amazing. That's incredible. Please get out the right information. You
yes,
know what I mean? Please do
yes,
what you're talking about. But no, for the most part, I think that everybody is doing an upstanding job of
tremendous. Just,
promoting the profession, and also it's expanded out of physical therapy now, and there are occupational therapists who also like want to be considered a part of the mix.
yes.
And
There was one occupational therapist who came from North Dakota, and she was going to run the program. And so smart. What she did when she had to give a in-service back to her hospital about where she had been and what she had been doing, she had everybody put on a diaper. And everybody put on a diaper underneath their clothes and sat
wow,
her in service. And she gave them orange juice, she gave them coffee, she just gave them water. She just kept going on and rambling on. And she saw people getting a little uncomfortable. And she said, "Oh, by the way, if you would like, you can just go in your diaper rather than having to leave the room."
that's
And
amazing.
wasn't that brilliant? I mean,
Yes, experiential learning in a very uncomfortable way.
yes, yes. So that's what Kathe really and I tried to do. We really wanted to make it so that anybody coming to the courses would really have to experience being a patient and being frightened to death and terrified, that somebody's going to see your privates.
I
And
think that's amazing. And there are people that are like, you do what? Like I'll tell them, what I do, and they're like, you teach 40 participants in a course and do labs on each
fourth
other.
graders. Yeah.
Absolutely. You need to experience it to know.
What a dedicated bunch. I mean, honestly, every single person who has gone through any of the courses is just so
And I
dedicated.
think that is what has upped the level of compassion and commitment
Yeah.
to this profession, because it takes so much vulnerability to come to pelvic floor courses,
Yes.
to boundary set with other people,
Yes.
to be able to respect other people's boundaries and not take it personally. I
Right.
mean, it is so much more than just knowledge.
That's right. It
It's
really
it's a personal and
respect.
a spiritual almost experience coming to a course.
Good for you for saying all of those different realms, because it
Yeah.
is. For a number of people, it really is how they communicate in the world, that
And
they're
I've never
intelligent.
seen like the level of compassion that happens, like, don't you love that feeling when you're finished with a course and everybody feels like there's been a bonding experience with other people in the room?
Yes,
It's
yes,
like they almost form their little culture for the
they
weekend.
do. They really do. And that they are going to go back and they are going to put their own spin on it. So taking it into pediatrics, taking it into more visceral, taking it into breast cancer, taking it into, craniosacral, taking it into, just really putting their own spin on it and just making it that much more holistic.
It's unending. I mean, I tell people when they come to pelvic floor courses, the very first thing, like, you're not going to get a cookbook approach. You know what I mean? And also, like, this is a world unto itself. So you went and did, a 3-year PT, doctor of PT, and now you're getting into a realm that you're going to spend a lifetime in if you want to be good at it. Like, you can't come to one course. And Nicole Kosian is talking about this. Like, you can't come to one course and call yourself a pelvic floor physical therapist. Like, when do we start to decide, like, yes, I'm proficient in this?
Yeah.
It takes so much time and getting mentorship and practice. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah.
On the one hand, Kathy and I made up a lot of stuff. I mean,
Yes.
we did. And because, research is always 7 years behind you, right? So you got to have trial and error and see,
And a
what.
lot of people don't know that, like, we have it drilled into our heads when we go to PT school, practice research-based physical therapy. And it's like, well, not every patient is going to be the same. And do no harm, use
Yes,
your
that's
brain,
what I was going to say.
go to the research,
Yes.
and think independently. When I was in residency, one of my mentors would say to me, give me 3 reasons why you want to do what you want to do.
Who is that?
It was Ingrid
Oh
Harm-Ernandes.
God, yes. Oh my God, Ingrid, she's just done so much.
Yes.
Volunteered my pelvic floor along with 5 other physical therapists, and she brought in 12
The
doctors. And we
physicians.
had the doctors examine us, and they wanted to go straight on
Right to
in.
the cervix.
And we said, wait. 60 to 80% of what you're going to do and what you need to know is on the outside. And a lot of times you can get to all 3 layers by just how much pressure you're going to be applying. Plus, you want to find out, do they have a hip problem? And should they be in stirrups? How should you position their legs? And
And they're like, wait. This is way over my head. How about, can I just get your referral number? What's your number? That's fine. Cool. At least now you understand what it is that we do. And can we get you on the table so that you have this level of compassion? No, I'm just kidding.
well,
Not kidding.
there have been many people who have done that, but also just bringing awareness that the person, there's so much evidence that shows that somebody who's been in the military, just going for a regular GYN appointment, it's traumatic. It brings up PTSD.
Yeah.
1/3 of women who have given birth, one study looked at in Israel, over 100 women, said that at least 1/3 of them, if not 2/3 of them, had some form of full-blown PTSD. At some point, they believed they or their baby was going to die, or something that didn't go quite right. So,
And let's
treating
normalize it.
people, yes, treating people without interrupting, telling them. I was when we were not on mic. I was telling you that before I see a patient, I give them a half an hour telehealth to really find out a couple of things. One is to tell them I'll never hurt them, never.
Yes.
And why should you hurt somebody in this private area? I mean, they're coming because they're hurting, or they're feeling like a gatekeeper, or they're so scared and anxious. So telling them I'll never hurt them, that they don't have to hurt in order to get better, that they run the show, that the COVID ways that I take care of 3 masks, a face shield, a gown, all of these various things right now. And also finding out what their goals and their preconceptions are, and really their priorities. So you got already some sort of connection where the person's not as anxious to come to you, not as worried. And I think that the biggest aspect of what's holding back the profession is quite literally time with
Really?
the patient.
Oh, yes.
Right? I mean, you had an hour and now you have a half an hour.
Oh, I
And
know. I get emails from people that are like, my clinic wants me to see my patients in a half an hour, or, and I'm just like,
right.
holy cow.
So
That,
can you augment with either the
yes.
telehealth? That doesn't necessarily have to be free if it's a hospital, but a telehealth introductory, and then using telehealth to help augment some of the exercises that you show. So through Dianne Lee, we know that you have to do a number of repetitions, her citing the evidence in your clinic before you have them leave.
Yeah.
So they have to do a number of repetitions in order to really get it kinesthetically. But when you don't really have that time, you could do that by telehealth.
Mhm.
And that would really, you could watch them do it in their own home and really promote much more of them empowering themselves rather than having to, be beholden to you to show them what to do.
You
So
know,
I,
one of the things that I feel like we're sitting in right now is the importance of connecting with our patients. You know, we were talking about the vulnerability of having a pelvic floor examination done, pelvic floor muscle examination. And one of the things that I tell the people in my courses is, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you get everything on this lab checklist. Your primary your priority right now is to connect with who's on the table.
Mhm.
And cuz I didn't want to buzz past that. And then also, just like, I'm also hearing, you're picking up on how things are changing so quickly, and with reimbursement and people being asked to do 30-minute sessions. And again, like, we as pelvic floor physical therapists know that that connection is so important with the patient. So how do we maintain that? And you're talking about doing a hybrid right now, and
Yeah.
how that can not only help with connection, but also assist with treatment too.
Yes, I agree. I took a course with Carolyn Vandyken and also Nellie at Pelvic Solutions. And Carolyn's now off on her own, but it's just amazing. And there are some different questionnaires that can really help you. There's one that has just two questions, and you can figure out whether this person is feeling hopeless and so therefore is needing some education rather than your immediate hands-on.
Oh, I
We
love this. Keep
know that
going.
they are not just the only ones, that it's not their fault, that it's not because of something that they did, that it's because of that they have blame or shame or any of those various things, but really figuring out where they're starting from, or whether they have the resiliency to have you give them some information, but then move them on by putting your hands on them or giving them telehealth to do the exercises.
Yeah,
And
and that's one of the things that we also say in courses is like, don't go right to the vagina
yes,
for
yes,
the exam. And
yes,
so what you're saying right now is like, look, some people are feeling hopeless and they're feeling triggered. And so maybe a 30-minute evaluation, like, not evaluation, but consultation via telehealth would do
oh,
wonders for
oh,
brain pain neuroscience and just
yes,
their nervous system, and could be an additional tool in our toolbox to help them feel comfortable and ease them towards the best possible symptom management and maybe even
yes,
resolution.
because a lot of the intake in the beginning, I can read. I have everybody send me electronic records, or what they fill out for me, and it says what are your major complaints, and along with pronoun and what kind of history have you had, but and a lot of things that are figures to kind of fill out. So I have a very good idea of what I'm going to be seeing and coming across. But on the other hand, allowing somebody to tell their story uninterrupted and have somebody say, gee, I'm sorry that you have these issues. and let's see what we can do about improving your function. And you'd be surprised how your foot is going to be connected or your head is going to be connected. And, we really have to make it so that your orthopedics are cleared, and then we can really get to the pelvic floor, because Dianne Lee was the very first person who ever asked me, where is the driver? Is it really coming from the thorax, or is it coming and influencing the pelvic floor, or is it actually in the pelvic floor and the pelvis? And you need to treat that, and then all these other things will sort of stack up and come into play. And that was just revolutionary to think about the fact that we could really have critical thinking about where we're going to start with a patient, how we're going to take them along their journey, and to make it holistic. I think
Absolutely.
this is just really marvelous. And there are
You're
so
such a pioneer, and you're showing that, like how we are pivoting, and you're just painting telehealth as like this positive tool. And also, like, you've expanded outside of pelvic floor physical therapy too. Aren't you one of the first sexual health? I don't know. Don't you have, tell
yes.
me what is it? Tell me about that again,
Yeah.
please.
Well, two ways. One was the fact that I was really treating so much vulvodynia, so much interstitial cystitis, so much of the painful bladder syndrome, so many dyspareunia and painful penetration patients, that it really, I took a course with Heather Howard, who's a sexologist, and she was just revolutionary in terms of like really asking poignant questions about your sexual satisfaction, your sexual pleasure, what's going on. Is it right at the initial penetration? Is it deeper inside? Because that would help you to figure out if it's the first layer, if it's something on the third layer, what's going on in terms of the relationship of the hips, how does it affect your gas and your bloating with your GI symptoms, and is your anus itching because you have an episiotomy that's, I mean, it was just so smart to really be able to say, okay, let's talk about this because this is within our realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I then went to the ISHWISH, International Society for the Study of Women's Sexual Health.
That's what I
Very,
was getting at.
very interdisciplinary program. I mean, they have urologists, they have sexologists, they have Irwin Goldstein, Andrew Goldstein, James Simon, Rachel Rubin, Sharon Parrish, Cheryl Kingsberger, all these people from all different kinds of things, practices and different professions coming together to try and figure things out. And the same thing for the International Pelvic Pain Society. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rhonda Kotarinos, for bringing us into there. And thank you, Amy Stein, and all of the people who just have expanded it so very, very,
Yes.
very much. And Pamela Morris and Dee Hartman for the International Vulvodynia, vulvovaginal disorders, and really bringing us into there. So, I mean, so many people have really kind of brought everybody together, but it's interdisciplinary.
Yeah.
So that is incredibly important.
Yeah. Well, final question. What are your hopes for the future of this specialization? Where would you like to see it going in 10, 20, 30, 50 years?
Yeah, yeah. I really hope that we keep on going the way that we are going under such great leadership at the APTA, under Kari and all of the board that's there. I mean, just really extraordinary. They've embraced transgender, they have embraced
Yes.
so many different aspects of women's care. Maria Elliott from Mummy, MOT. She's
Yeah.
she's got, oh my gosh, she has all different kinds of groups and all different things to take women who have been forgotten after their labors and their deliveries. And so really just looking for more of the population of women throughout their life cycles and really looking at perimenopause as truly a time where we can be very helpful
Yes,
for
yes. Like
people.
you're
And
like, we need to address transgender issues and we need to address perimenopause. And there's just these areas that we can still do so much in.
yes, yes. So to keep that up, to really help educate as much as possible. Honestly, it was 2 years ago that I stood in front of 200 surgeons who
Wow.
were doing gender affirming surgeries and told them what physical therapy could do. And they had no idea.
And can
None.
you imagine undergoing one of those surgeries without someone like us at their back? Like I can't.
It's been shown. I mean, Joe Melios has shown that if you are, and also Sandy from Oregon, and Rachel Warman, and so many people who have really shown that if we do pre-operative visits, that the end results are so much better. So really trying to make it so that we get in, and then even during the surgeries, these patients, they had their legs up for 7 hours. And so I say to the doctors, how about lowering their legs? Are we not concerned about a femoral, problem, a femoral nerve problem? Or demyelinization. And so they wrote it up on their board every 2 hours to lower the legs. I mean, we can really be helpful
Yeah.
to many other disciplines, but also I'm so absolutely enamored by all of the courses that I have had the privilege of taking, and
Mhm.
seeing where people have been visionary, like yourself,
Oh,
and like so many others, with their blogs and with their connections, and really utilizing all different realms of how to approach a patient. I think it's tremendous. I think it's really tremendous,
it is.
and
It's
that
very
we're
inspiring.
really going places, and should be always considered as part of an interdisciplinary team.
Yes.
So, yes,
So, Holly,
where do you see us going?
oh gosh.
Yeah, add your thoughts. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, this is so good. It's like, it's flipping the switch. So, I would love to see reimbursement for prevention.
Oh God, yeah.
I would love to see physical therapists helping women who are pregnant,
Hmm. And
helping people who have just been diagnosed with cancer, helping, like we have so much. The fact is, in my opinion, is that we are seeing crash course cases most of the time, or a lot of the times, in America, in the United States.
you mean people who have seen everybody, tried every
they
medication?
have they have been
uh,
through multiple
and
surgeries, been on multiple medications, have felt broken for years, and by the time that they come to us and get conservative treatment, that is, we can always affect something,
uh-huh.
even
Yes,
if it's the brain.
yes,
We can
yes.
definitely affect the tissues, like we
Right.
should be first line
Yeah, yeah. I
treatment.
think you nailed it. Bravo to you.
Oh,
And
thanks.
also get, with the doctorate, financially, physical therapists, new physical therapists. Thank goodness for you. But honestly,
The debt.
the debt
I am halfway through my
crippling,
debt, 11 years out.
crippling. And so it doesn't, really allow you to stay within a system and really be, you have to branch out and take your own insurance, or, do other things that are out of network, or,
And this
it's
stuff should be available to everybody.
yeah, well,
But
I
if they're
hope.
not going to pay for it,
Right, 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 right,
yeah.
right. Or as you are doing, to do education,
Yes.
and then also be able to make it with your support groups. Do you have support groups online? Do you have?
Yes. So I am starting kickpink.com, which is going to provide education, general information to people
Yes.
who have been recently diagnosed or who have gone through breast cancer. So, for example, if you're going to get a mastectomy,
Yeah.
This is like, I'm going to be working with Megan Pribble, and we're going to put together a meal plan that is nutritious and good for healing that you can prepare prior to going into surgery. If that doesn't help bring down the central nervous system, you're going to know what exercises that you need to do, because a lot of times surgeons don't give any restrictions, or they give restrictions and don't tell you when to let those up or what to do after them. So just post-op surgery exercises. We're going to go into, a little course on sexual health for breast cancer survivors, on lymphedema management, because it's the number one fear of people, and it is not the number one thing that comes up with breast cancer patients. So, just creating this a place for patients to go where they can get the evidence and the good rundown. And then also anybody who takes my course and completes that, and a personal project, becomes a certified kick pain practitioner and will be listed on the website. So those people are able to find practitioners who can help them directly, who have good knowledge of comprehensive breast cancer care, because it's not just lymphedema management. Thank you.
Yeah, honestly, there's a book by Malcolm Gladwell that's called The Outliers, and also The Tipping Point.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read that.
And one of the things that he says is that some people have factual knowledge. Some people have factual knowledge. And other people are more connectors. And other people are more like in visionaries. And so all different people have different characteristics. So it sounds like you are really a connector, plus having the information that you're giving out, and that you're also incorporating that third part of really envisioning expanding your course into many other different realms.
Yeah.
And that's what I see has happened with
because that's what it takes.
because also you see, if they have scar in their thorax, it's gonna interfere or somehow affect the pelvic floor.
Oh yeah. I mean, how many times have I seen plantar fasciitis patients who have a history of breast cancer that had mastectomies, and they were being treated the traditional way for plantar fasciitis, and it wasn't getting better, and then you treat the chest wall and their plantar fasciitis goes away. Like, it's amazing. It's incredible.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly right. So, yeah, honestly, and to, expand that into transgender and top surgeries and various aspects of that, but really to have your solid niche of cancer and breast patients so, so fantastic and so timely, and, really, really inspirational. So I just want to expand that to everybody who is watching and participating in this event, that you are doing such a fabulous job. Thank you for who you are, what you are doing, and what you will be doing, because you are making a huge difference, and that's really all that could be hoped for.
Thank you, Holly. And, I mean, we're just living in incredible times right now. I mean, can you imagine being women trying to do this 100 years ago? Like, now there are certain things that can't stop us. We have a voice and a platform online that is just wasn't there 20 years ago, wasn't there when I was in college. It's amazing.
And there are so many different practitioners who have taken it different ways. So Stacy Scher and Pelvic Guru, Alcove Physical Therapy, Stephanie and Liz in terms of their blogs and their information that they give out, all the different top ed courses. And, it's just really fine to give different ideas. You can always pick something up, and it really will help you in terms of really looking at people as individuals and seeing the things that go together, the comorbidities, and understanding on a deep foundation, but also treating that person so that they get the most effective care, that it's on their learning frame and style. Fatima taught me that. And then also their own timetable,
Oh,
which is really, really helpful.
yeah.
So bravo to everyone. Bravo. Good for
Thank you
you.
so much for
You're
being
very
here
welcome.
today,
Thank you.
Holly.
This is a great opportunity to
It's an
thank
honor.
all of the people who came before me and are coming now and are coming in the future. All of you who are rising up. Ah,
Yeah.
such beautiful stars.
So if anybody wanted to follow you, Holly, is there any way to?
I kind of took a little bit of a break from Facebook. I read it and then I sort of go private, in terms of appealing to those people because I just, I don't know.
You're
I
like,
just have. I'm on, the screen quite a lot, so
yeah. And the course that you're teaching right now that people are really following is the transgender course,
yes,
correctly?
but
Correct?
actually, who's taken it over mostly are Christina Fitzgerald
Okay.
and Christy Ciesla from Miriam Hospital in Rhode Island. And
Okay.
then Alex Papale, she works with Dusty Ann Miller and also Good Vibrations. She is such a firecracker. Woo!
Yes. What a
Everybody
team. I can't wait to take that course.
wanted much more from them in terms of the knowledge that they had, just incredible. And Pam Klein. So people are really taking over, and Heather Reich
Heather
from
Reiki Edwards.
Berkeley,
Yeah.
and Sandy Gallagher has her courses through the apta.org. And women's health section. It's great. It's really great.
Oh, well, thank you so much for starting things so much and passing it off and working community. And this is the way that it's got to be. It's not
Listen,
about
if
us, it's
I
about
can do it,
everybody.
anybody can do it. And
Yeah.
also that, the passion that you all have, just use it.
Well, you're
It's,
a brilliant mind, Holly, and thank you.
thank you very much. This was a real honor, and really thank you for having the locale to be able to say thank you to all those other
Mm.
people.
Well, blessings to you. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Oh, that was so great.